It was the longest war in American history, lasting 10 years. When it was all over, $150 billion would have been spent trying to keep North Vietnam from unifying its counterpart to the south. In the process, 58,000 American soldiers would lose their lives. It introduced into the American lexicon words like quagmire, body bag, and body count, heard daily on the evening news. It left a legacy of economic inflation, a demoralized armed force, destroyed the image of American omnipotence, led citizens to distrust their government, and divided the nation like it had not been divided since the Civil War. It was the Vietnam War. Ironically, Vietnam was the war that never had to be. Following World War II, the Vietnamese sought to free themselves from France, which had colonized Indochina in 1859. In 1946, Ho Chi Minh, leader of the Vietnamese resistance, approached the United States for aid and was refused. He then turned to the Soviets, who agreed. As a result, North Vietnam became more and more communist. In 1954, after the French defeat at Dien Bien Phu, an international conference in Geneva, Switzerland, set a temporary demarcation between a communist North and a democratic South along the 17th parallel. Once the French departed, 3 elections to unify the nation were to be held in 1956. But South Vietnam's leaders, with the support of the United States, thwarted the elections, and by 1959, Viet Cong guerrillas, supported by the North, began carrying out raids against the South in an attempt to unify the country. In response, the U.S. promised aid to the South, fearful that if South Vietnam fell, the rest of Asia would fall to the communists. It was the old domino theory of John Foster Dulles. In fact, the war really started with aid to South Vietnam during Eisenhower's administration, followed by a slow military buildup under Kennedy. By the end of 1963, 16,000 troops and advisors were stationed in the country. 8 months later, that would dramatically change. On August 2, 1964, as the USS Maddox, a Navy destroyer, began a reconnaissance mission off the coast of North Vietnam in the Gulf of Tonkin, 3 North Vietnamese torpedo boats purportedly chased off the Maddox. The Maddox was hit by 1 heavy machine gun shell. This incident was referred to as the first attack. 2 days later, the Maddox returned to the Gulf of Tonkin, accompanied by the USS Turner Joy. That night, the Turner Joy supposedly picked up high-speed vessels on its radar. However, the Maddox did not. The 2 destroyers attacked these ships many still believe were phantoms. The next day, planes from American aircraft carriers retaliated, destroying a North Vietnamese petroleum storage facility. In a television address, President Johnson claimed the U.S. had been attacked and painted a picture of North Vietnamese treachery.
That renewed hostile actions against United States ships on the high seas in the Gulf of Tonkin have today required me to order the military forces of the United States to take action in reply.
On August 7, 1964, Congress passed the Gulf of Tonkin resolution giving President Johnson the power to take all necessary measures to repel any armed attack against the forces of the United States and to prevent further aggression. Thus, America's Vietnam War began in full earnest.